All right, so thank you for coming out and sitting down with the Center magazine. I'm just going to ask you a couple questions. If you just want to start by introducing yourself.
Thank you. I appreciate the platform. My name is Malcolm Shabazz, and I am the grandson, the namesake, and the first male heir of a great Muslim revolutionary leader by the name of El Malik El Shabazz, or more widely known to the masses as Mr. MalcolmX.
Thank you. So how has growing up the grandson of Malcolm X shaped who you are today, and what does it mean to you?
Oftentimes growing up, it was as if I had a magnifying glass on top of me, or if I was under a microscope, and people often expected me to be a certain type of way because of the family I come from and who my grandfather is, and oftentimes I rebelled against that. And today I don't think that it's necessarily beneficial to encourage someone to fill someone else's shoes or to expect someone to fill somebody else's shoes, but each individual should be encouraged to grow within their own shoes, to grow within who they are. I often use this analogy when people ask me this question. It's as you're growing up as the grandson of Malcolm X has been a blessing, and at other times I wouldn't say a curse, but it could also be a disadvantage. And it could be a disadvantage when it comes to in terms of dealing with various businessmen, government officials, and politicians, and racist, sadistic KKK type officers who have it against me simply because of my family lineage. But it's been a blessing in terms of being able to connect with other revolutionary spirited and military minded individuals from all over the world, from the son of Kwame Nkrumah, the daughter of Kwame Nkrumah, Samia Nkrumah, the son of Patrice Lumumba, Minister of Information JR, Chairman Fred Hampton Jr., Yuri Kachiyama. So to be able to connect with these revolutionary spirited individuals has been a blessing. The analogy I'm speaking of is you could invite somebody to your house and you could offer them a meal, and they might eat that meal and maybe they get sick and they throw up all over your brand new carpet, but still you'll be hospitable towards them. Maybe you'll help them clean up the mess, or maybe you make sure that they're okay. But with me, it was always as if I could walk up the sidewalk and I could spit on the street and everybody would look like, well, what the hell is wrong with him? He just spit on the street. So, alhamdulillah.
Could you, guys, sorry, I'm trying to do an interview. So my next question for you is, how have you ever overcome the mistakes of your troubled past? And what do you think was your motivation behind your actions?
Alhamdulillah, I've made, you gonna edit this?
Yes.
I gotta think a little bit about that question. What's the question?
Well, we'll start with the first part. How have you ever overcome the mistakes of your troubled youth?
Each man is like a grain of salt towards the building block of civilization. So we shouldn't always focus on what others are or aren't willing to do, but on what we're willing to do. And in the Quran, it states that our Lord is He who gave all things its creation, and then He Himself guided it. And we must also bear in mind, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also states in the Quran that man is made in toil and struggle to struggle. So I never really regret any particular situation or circumstance, but to realize that there were certain obstacles that are placed at certain intervals in my life which should only serve to make us stronger. And I've often found myself in many situations where I ask myself, why me? Why is this happening to me? Why am I going through this? But today I do have a better understanding of why I personally went through the things that I went through.
And what do you consider to be the most important part of your grandfather's legacy?
For me, I believe that the most important aspect to my grandfather is that he was never set in his ways. He was on a constant search for truth, and he was very sincere. He was an Islamic scholar. He didn't speak fluent Arabic. He wasn't going to break down hadith and start quoting all these things from the Quran, but he affected more change than people who may have studied Islam 20, 30 years or their whole lives. It's because he was very sincere and he was always on a constant search for truth, and he was never unwilling to admit his previous mistakes or work on correcting his errors and flaws.
And what do you think is the most important piece of advice you can give to today's youth?
The most important advice I could give to today's youth is not to always react from emotion, because many times we find ourselves in positions where we're quick to react. We get angry or whatever other emotion that we're feeling, and we act on the emotion, and then we might find ourselves in a situation, and I'm speaking for myself, I've been in a situation many times where I might be sitting in a cell, or I might have to suffer some repercussion for something that I did out of anger, or out of dealing with my emotions, and then I find myself in a position where I think to myself, man, I could have did this, that, and the third differently, or why did I do that like that, but it's too late. So many times what we need to do when something happens, instead of just being quick to be a reactionary, we need to be more revolutionary. But we need to sit back and let that emotion pass, know what we're feeling, but let it pass. Sometimes you need to sleep on it, wait a day or two, and then see how you feel. Because many times if you let the emotion pass and you sit back and look at it on an analytical level, you won't react in the same manner. So that's very important. That's one of the advices I would give.
Awesome. And lastly, would you give a shout out to the Center Magazine?
Center Magazine.
Thank you.